Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are actually looking at a single, highly specific source.
Right, just one document today.
Yeah, exactly. It's this dual language directive from the competitive bodybuilding world, specifically in English and Thai.
And our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack how this one single document structurally alters the rules of a massive global sport.
But to really understand what we're looking at, I mean, you kind of have to think about that feeling when you open your inbox on say, a Tuesday morning.
Oh, yeah, we all know that feeling.
Right. And sitting right there at the top is a mandatory HR compliance email.
The worst.
Yeah, and it usually looks pretty innocent at first glance. Like it might even have a brightly colored banner or, a friendly little icon or something.
Right, but deep down, you just know it's this non-negotiable hoop you have to jump through to keep your job.
Exactly. Whether that's like updating your password or reviewing the new company code of conduct.
It's the classic corporate velvet glove over an iron fist.
Ooh, I like that. The velvet glove.
Yeah, I mean, the packaging is super approachable and user-friendly, but the underlying message is just this absolute, uncompromising mandate.
Okay, so I want you to imagine that exact same kind of email, but instead of just taking a quick 10-minute quiz to, satisfy a corporate checklist,
Right.
your entire physical, professional, and athletic career is completely on the line.
Yeah, the stakes are just massively higher here.
Okay, let's unpack this. The document we are analyzing today actually comes from the WBPF.
Which is the World Bodybuilding and Physique Sports Federation, just for context.
Right, thank you. And at first glance, I mean, it literally just looks like a promotional poster for a course.
Yeah, a course run by ADEL, which is the Anti-Doping Education and Learning Platform.
It's got, like, bright colors, a massive QR code right in the middle, some social media icons at the bottom.
Very modern, very standard flyer stuff.
Exactly. But when you look past that modern formatting, you are actually looking at, a masterclass in international sports legislation.
You really are, and I think the stakes are established immediately by who actually signed off on this flyer.
Oh, absolutely.
Because this isn't just, a casual memo drafted by some random regional committee. It bears the signature of Datuk Paul Chua.
And crucially, he signs it in a dual capacity, right?
Yes, he signs it as the president of both the WBPF and the ABBF.
Okay, wait, we should probably clarify that second acronym for everyone listening.
Good call. So, the ABBF is the Asian Bodybuilding and Physique Sports Federation.
Got it. So you have the global governing body, the WBPF, aligning perfectly with its massive Asian regional body, the ABBF.
In one single stroke of the pen.
That's pretty wild.
It is. That dual signature is basically an administrative anchor.
How so?
Well, when the president of the global federation also signs as the president of a major regional federation, it totally eliminates any space for, regional offshoots to claim they operate under different priorities.
I see. It ties the global mandate directly to the local enforcement.
Exactly. And the mandate itself revolves entirely around ADL.
All right, that anti-doping platform.
Yeah, which serves as this central educational curriculum designed to standardize anti-doping knowledge worldwide.
So the Federation is essentially fusing its immense political and organizational power with ADL's standardized curriculum.
Precisely. They're locking it down.
Which honestly brings us to the first major theme of this document, and that's the psychology of how they are actually rolling this thing out.
Yeah, this part is fascinating.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because if you look at the flyer, the most prominent text, I mean, it's literally colored in bright pink, against a green background, totally dwarfing everything else on the page.
Yeah, you can't miss it.
It says Free Anti-Doping Education Certificate Course.
Massive letters.
Massive. And it borrows the exact visual language of consumer marketing. I swear. It looks like a coupon for a free trial to a streaming service.
It really does have that vibe.
And that just struck me as odd, Like, if you had the executive power to just tell your athletes, hey, take this course or you're suspended, why advertise it like a product?
Well, what's fascinating here is that the word free in this context, it isn't a perk. It's actually a strategic administrative weapon.
A weapon. Okay, explain that.
To understand why, you kind of have to look at the massive economic disparities within a global sports federation like the WBPF.
Right, because it's global. You have athletes from all over.
Exactly. You have athletes competing from highly developed nations where, say, a $50 certification fee is just a total afterthought.
Barely a drop in the bucket.
Right. But you also have athletes in developing regions where currency exchange rates make that exact same $50 fee a massive prohibitive burden.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. So it's basically the difference between giving up a couple of coffees versus giving up a month's worth of groceries.
Exactly, just to get a piece of paper that allows you to step on stage.
That's crazy.
So if there is any financial cost attached to this mandatory certificate, an athlete in a developing region has a built-in structural excuse for noncompliance.
Ah, I see where this is going.
Right. They could stand before a disciplinary board and legitimately say, look, I wanted to learn the rules. I wanted to compete cleanly, but I simply could not afford the certification.
And the board would kind of have their hands tied.
Exactly. So by making the course completely free and by branding it so aggressively with that massive pink text,
Right alongside the ADEL and WBPF logos.
yes, the Federation systematically removes the friction of cost. They just wipe it out.
Let's take that a step further, actually, because the implications of that are huge. It means the velvet glove, like that big friendly free e-text we were talking about.
Right, the velvet glove.
It's actually there to make sure the iron fist cannot be challenged later. They're strategically eliminating the financial loophole.
You nailed it. You absolutely cannot claim you were priced out of knowing the rules.
Wow. The Federation is establishing this dynamic where failure to comply is framed entirely as a choice rather than, a consequence of your circumstances.
Okay, but wait, I do have to push back on this a little bit.
Sure, go ahead. We are talking about a digital ADL certificate course, right?
Correct.
So even if the course itself is free, doesn't mandating a digital platform inherently bias the system against athletes in regions with really poor internet access?
That's a fair point.
Because if someone doesn't have reliable Wi-Fi or, they don't have a smartphone, they're still locked out, aren't they just swapping a financial barrier for an infrastructural one?
That is a really critical distinction to make, and it forces us to look closely at how the Federation is bridging the gap between access and technical literacy.
Okay.
It's definitely true that the course requires internet access, which is just kind of a baseline reality of modern global administration.
Right. Everything is online now.
Yeah, but the Federation recognized that while they obviously can't go physically build internet infrastructure in rural areas.
Right. They're a sports federation, not an ISP.
Exactly. But they can completely remove the barrier of technical confusion.
And how do they do that?
Well, they address this by offering 2 parallel tracks for compliance, which we see really clearly laid out on the document.
Oh, right. The digital mechanics. They do lay this out in a highly specific way.
Walk us through it.
So step 1 literally tells the user to create your ADL account by scanning this massive, super prominent QR code right there on the page.
Which is great for people who are used to that.
Yeah. But immediately beneath that, in the exact same step, it reads, if you need assistance, please refer to the attached user manual for step-by-step instructions.
Yes. And then they follow it up with step 2, which just simply instructs the user to log into the ADL platform using those credentials they just created.
It's very thorough.
It is. They wrap the whole thing in this comprehensive digital footprint, listing the official website. So that's https://www.wbpsf.org.
Nice and official.
Along with all the standard social media icons, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
I was reading that dual approach, like the QR code versus the attached user manual, and it honestly felt a bit like the IRS sending you an email.
Oh boy, the IRS.
Hear me out. It's like they send you a link to file your taxes with one click using TurboTax, right?
Right.
But then they also literally mail you the giant 50-page paper booklet with all the manual worksheets just in case.
That's actually a great comparison.
Like, they don't care how you file it. They just care that you have absolute zero excuse for not getting it done.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the tax analogy is perfect because it really highlights the demographic challenge of governing a massive population.
Because of the age differences.
Exactly. I mean, a 19-year-old competitor expects to scan a QR code, tap their screen twice, and just be enrolled.
Oh, totally. Takes 5 seconds.
Right. And for them, a multi-page user manual is frustrating and totally archaic.
And we wouldn't even look at it.
But then consider, a 65-year-old regional coach or maybe a veteran official who's been in the sport for 40 years.
Right.
They might not have a QR scanning app. They might feel incredibly anxious about navigating this brand new digital platform called ADEL.
Sure, that makes total sense.
So for that demographic, a step-by-step attached user manual is an absolute lifeline.
Yeah, I mean, if you are listening to this right now, you probably scan 3 QR codes a day without even thinking about it.
Oh, at least. Usually menus at restaurants now.
Exactly. But if you're an older regional judge in, say, a rural province, that technology is just a huge wall.
And the Federation knew they had to tear that wall down.
Wow.
By offering the seamless QR scan right alongside the deliberate step-by-step manual, they close every single technical loophole.
So no one can say they didn't know how to do it.
Exactly. If an athlete or an official ends up before a disciplinary committee because they failed to take the course, they simply cannot use tech illiteracy as a defense.
They can't say, oh, the QR code was just too confusing.
Because the Federation will just point right to the attached step-by-step manual.
Right. The committee will just ask, did you read the manual?
And the defense completely crumbles. They have systematically stripped away the two most common administrative defenses.
Which are, I couldn't afford it, and I didn't know how to access it.
Exactly.
You know, this dual approach to accessibility also explains a massive component of our source material, which is the inclusion of the complete Thai translation.
Yes, that is so important.
The entire document, all the steps, the big free text, I mean, it is all mirrored flawlessly in Thai.
Because localization is how a global mandate actually survives in the real world.
Oh, say more about that.
Well, a policy written in English at the headquarters in, Dubai or London, it means literally nothing if a regional coach in Chiang Mai cannot read it.
That makes total sense.
By translating the mechanism of compliance and not just the rule itself, the WBPF is really pushing the responsibility down to the absolute grassroots level.
Which brings us to the climax of this document, and really the third major theme, systemic accountability.
This is where it gets heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Federation has eliminated both the financial barriers and the technical excuses. They are fully empowered to just drop the hammer.
And they really do.
They do. And they do it in a section that is literally impossible to miss. Beneath the steps, beneath the QR code, there is this brightly highlighted pink and purple section labeled Important Notice.
The color blocking draws your eye right to it. You can't miss it.
Everything above that brightly colored box was really just the setup, right? The velvet glove.
And the important notice is the iron fist.
So what does this all mean? The exact wording here is all athletes and officials affiliated with the WBPF and its regional federations are required to complete the ADEL anti-doping education certificate course.
There is zero ambiguity there.
None. But this is the part that really made me pause when I was looking at this.
What's that?
I mean, it makes complete sense that the athletes have to take an anti-doping course. They are the ones competing.
Great, they're the ones on stage.
Yeah, they're the ones managing their diets, taking supplements, and ultimately providing the samples for testing. But why does this mandate explicitly demand that officials take the exact same educational certificate?
It's an interesting addition.
Right. We are talking about referees, judges, administrators.
Yeah.
They aren't on stage, so why force them through the same ADL curriculum?
This raises an important question, and honestly, that requirement is the single most important structural shift on the entire page.
Really? More than the athletes?
Yes, because it changes the entire ecosystem of the sport. Historically, in a lot of sports, anti-doping education has failed precisely because it was treated purely as an athlete's problem.
Okay, let's break down the mechanism of how that failure actually happens in the real world.
Sure.
So in the past, you might have an athlete from a regional federation who tests positive for, say, a banned diuretic.
Which happens, unfortunately, often.
Right. And during their disciplinary hearing, the athlete argues that their regional coach, or maybe a local official, told them this substance was just an over-the-counter vitamin and perfectly safe to use.
And under the old system, when that happens, the governing body is totally paralyzed.
Because it's a he said, she said.
Partially, but mainly because they want to punish the athlete, right? But the athlete is claiming ignorance based on bad advice from an authority figure.
Oh, I see.
And the governing body cannot punish the local official because that official was never mandated to learn the banned substance list in the first place.
Ah, so you have a massive structural loophole.
Exactly. The enforcers and the followers are operating with completely different sets of information.
So the athlete ends up feeling preyed upon by this obscure shifting rule book. And the local officials are misapplying protocols just because they aren't up to date on the latest ADL standards.
It is a total administrative disaster waiting to happen.
Wow. So by mandating that regional officials take the exact same ADL course as the athletes, Datuk Paul Chua and the WBPF are creating this shared, universal baseline of knowledge.
Exactly. They are eliminating the friction that occurs when the people enforcing the rules and the people following the rules have totally different interpretations of reality.
It basically creates a closed loop of knowledge. If an athlete takes the course and learns that a specific cold medicine is now on the banned list, they know for a fact that the local official in their regional federation also knows it.
And vice versa. When an official speaks to an athlete about a testing protocol, they both know that the other person knows the rules.
So there is zero room for misinterpretation between the two groups.
None whatsoever. It fundamentally changes the dynamic of a disciplinary hearing.
Oh, so?
Well, when that same athlete tests positive and tries to blame their coach, the committee can literally look at the coach and say, hold on, you passed the ADL certificate course last year. You knew this substance was banned.
Boom. The loophole is permanently sealed.
Exactly. The entire ecosystem is locked in.
It isn't just about catching rule breakers, then. It's about systemizing the education so thoroughly that breaking a rule becomes an undeniable, calculated choice rather than an accident of ignorance.
Which is exactly why the dual signature from the president of both the WBPF and the ABBF is so incredibly vital.
And why the Thai translation matters so much.
Right. They are casting a net over the entire ecosystem, from the global headquarters all the way down to the local judges and regional coaches. Everyone, everywhere, gets the exact same education.
You know, it really reframes how you look at a seemingly simple flyer.
It really does.
We started this deep dive talking about how this document looks like a basic, maybe slightly annoying HR compliance email.
Just another poster with a QR code and some bold text.
Right. But when you look at the underlying mechanics, it is genuinely a masterclass in global administration.
It utilizes modern digital accessibility, like the QR codes, and then pairs it with traditional methods like the attached manual to completely bridge the digital divide.
Yeah. And it leverages the psychological power of consumer marketing, the massive free text, to just strip away the financial excuses of non-compliance.
And on top of all that, it blankets the entire sport, demanding that both the athletes putting in the work and the officials grading the physiques go through the exact same ADL curriculum.
It is a completely watertight system designed to ensure that every single regional federation is operating from the exact same playbook.
It just shows how much you can learn about the systems that govern us when you stop looking at what a document says and start looking at how it is designed to enforce that message.
Yeah, the structure of the communication reveals the entire strategy of the governing body.
Exactly.
Well, as we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought to kind of mull over on your own.
Always good to leave with a question.
Yeah, it's a question that this flyer really brings to the surface for anyone interested in how large systems operate. If a federation successfully achieves 100% educational certification, meaning every single athlete and every single official has completed the ADL platform and passed the course, how does that shift the nature of accountability?
Oh, that's a great point. It forces a completely different conversation about fairness.
Right. Because once ignorance of the rules is structurally and permanently eliminated by this mandatory, free, highly accessible certificate, no one can ever say, I didn't know again.
The excuse is just gone.
So when the excuse of ignorance is gone, what does the conversation about punishment actually look like? Are the penalties harsher because the violation absolutely had to be intentional?
It's definitely something to think about.
It really is something to think about the next time you get one of those mandatory compliance emails in your inbox and you have to click that little box saying you read and understood all the terms.
Like you aren't just clicking a box to make the email go away.
Exactly. You are actively participating in a closed loop of accountability. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We love unpacking these everyday documents and finding the massive structural systems hiding right beneath the surface. We will catch you on the next one.